Film noir is a genre that emerged in the early 1940s, characterized by its moody cinematography, morally ambiguous characters, and themes of crime, corruption, and existential despair. The term film noir, French for black film or dark film, was first coined by French critics Nino Frank and Jean-Pierre Chatier in 1946 to describe the dark, cynical Hollywood crime films that were popular during and after World War II. Additionally, the sharp contrast or chiaroscuro was also associated with this term. Although film noir is often associated with a specific period, roughly 1941 to 1958, its influence continues to shape contemporary cinema. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you've all had a wonderful February, because now we're in March. And you know what they say, March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb, whatever that means. Today, we're going to be talking about film noir. Film noir was heavily influenced by German Expressionism, a cinematic movement that emerged in the 1910s and 1920s. Directors such as Fritz Lang, who did Metropolis in 1927, and F.W. Murnau, who did Nosferatu in 1922, a director we already talked about on this channel. Go check out the Nosferatu video if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to do a react video to the new Nosferatu, because it is now on Peacock streaming, and I have Peacock, so let me know. We can watch it together. Experimented with shadowy, high contrast lighting, tilted camera angles, and distorted sets to create unsettling atmospheres. Many German filmmakers, including Lang and Billy Wilder, immigrated to Hollywood in the 1930s to escape the rise of Germany, bringing their stylistic innovations with them. Another key influence was American hard-boiled detective fiction, particularly the works of Dashiell Hammett, who wrote The Maltese Falcon in 1930, and Raymond Chandler, who wrote The Big Sleep in 1939. These novels featured cynical private investigators navigating corrupt urban landscapes, a motif that translated seamlessly into film noir. Common themes in classic film noir include fatalism, existential despair, and a sense of post-war disillusionment. Visually, the genre relied on stark contrast between light and shadow, often achieved using low-key lighting, which heightened the tension and paranoia within its narratives. Central to film noir is the use of low-key lighting, which produces pronounced shadows and sharp contrast between light and dark areas within the frame. This technique, known as chiaroscuro, emphasizes the interplay between light and shadow to create a sense of depth and volume. It serves to underscore the genre's themes of ambiguity and moral conflict. The shadows of Venetian blinds, or banister rods, cast upon an actor, a wall, or an entire set are iconic visuals in noir. This technique, simply called the Venetian blind technique, was central to film noir's signature style. And speaking of signature style, if you've enjoyed the style of this video so far, make sure you give this video a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. Let me know below what your favorite film noir is, if you have one, and let me know what you think of them. Are they entertaining? Are they boring? Do you love them, like them, hate them? Give me your thoughts below. Film noir frequently employs unconventional camera angles and movements to evoke a sense of unease and disorientation, and let's quickly go through some of them right now. In this angle, the camera is tilted on its roll axis, resulting in a slanted horizon line like this, okay? The shot is like this, right? Meant to convey psychological tension, fear, confusion, instability, disorientation, a bunch of weird stuff, you know, like vertigo, kind of. It's like the vertigo angle, really. Basically, it's like that. Here, here. Here, here. Okay. The camera is positioned below the subject, looking up. Now, this perspective can make characters appear powerful, imposing, or threatening. So basically, whenever you see those dramatic shots where you, as the audience, feel like you're looking up at the character, that's a low-angle shot. So this is the opposite of what the low angle shot is. Hello, welcome to Film School 101. The camera in this technique is positioned above the subject looking down. This angle can make a character appear vulnerable, submissive, or insignificant, the exact antithesis of the low angle shot, which by their names seems a little backwards, right? Okay, so but just remember opposite. This is a technique where both the foreground and background remain in sharp focus, allowing complex compositions and the inclusion of multiple narrative elements within a single frame. Basically, deep focus, everything is in focus. Unlike this right here, where my background is out of focus and it's kind of funny. I have the blinds back here. No, I don't put curtains up. Everything would be in focus. This microphone would be in focus. I would be in focus and the background would be in focus. That would be a deep focus. The arrangement of everything that appears in the framing. So actors, lighting, props, decor, costume, everything that's in the shots is referred to the mise en scène. And that is just kind of what makes the vibe and everything. That's why you have all the costume designers, set designers, everybody working together to get the vibe that the director wants. Meticulously crafted in film noir to enhance the storytelling. Dark, rain-soaked streets, narrow alleyways, and claustrophobic interiors were utilized in order to reflect the character's inner turmoil and the oppressive nature of the setting. And that was your Film School Techniques Class 101. Now you don't have to go in debt to go to a film school to learn that. Film noir narratives often utilize non-linear structures, incorporating flashbacks and fragmented timelines. This approach reflects the complexity of the plot and the psychological depth of the characters, allowing audiences to piece together the story from various perspectives. Voiceover narration is also common, providing insight into the protagonist's inner thoughts and enhancing the subjective experience of the narrative. The genre is populated with specific character types that drive its thematic concerns, the main two being the femme fatale and the anti-hero. The femme fatale is a recurring character in film noir, embodying danger, seduction, and mystery. These women often lead the male protagonist into compromising and sometimes deadly situations. Their enigmatic nature and manipulative tendencies serve as catalysts for the unfolding drama, challenging traditional gender roles and highlighting themes of power and control. And that is kind of how I view it. I've always viewed it as an empowering thing. Some people argue that the femme fatale is a misogynistic stereotype of women are trouble, women are dangerous, they're seductive, and they try to ruin the men and their moral fiber, you know, try to disrupt that. I've always loved femme fatale. I was like, if I was in a film noir, if I'm not being the detective, I'm being the femme fatale, okay? You get to be bad and sexy. Departing from traditional hero archetypes, film noir protagonists are often anti-heroes, flawed, cynical, and morally ambiguous individuals, often a detective or criminal. See right here, flawed individuals, nothing to do with a woman, okay? Their psychological complexity adds depth to the narrative as they navigate personal demons and ethical quandaries. This focus on character-driven storytelling allows for explorations of themes like guilt, paranoia, and the darker aspects of human nature. These protagonists are unusually vice-ridden and morally questionable, often described as alienated and filled with existential bitterness. Again, this is why I argue that the femme fatale should not be seen as a misogynistic stereotype, because you have the anti-hero who is already messed up, okay? They already had trouble inside, internal trouble. It's about taking responsibility for your own actions, all right? I think we all know that on this channel. In summary, film noir's aesthetics are defined by deliberate visual and narrative choices that create a world of darkness, ambiguity, and complexity. The technical aspects, from lighting and camera work to character archetypes and storytelling structures, work cohesively to immerse the audience in the genre's distinctive atmosphere. So, now that we have got some background on the technical side of film noir and the origins, let's go back where it all started and talk about some of the awesome films that came from this era, known as the classic era, 1941 to 1958. By the way, I wore this because I was like, ooh, this is very Sunset Boulevard, you know, that type of thing. I like to wear headpieces, if you hadn't realized, you know, on this channel. Okay, it's probably because of my head case, but anyway. The first true film noir is often considered to be The Maltese Falcon in 1941, directed by John Huston and based on Hammett's novel. The film introduced many of the genre's defining characteristics: a morally ambiguous protagonist, a convoluted crime narrative, and an atmosphere of paranoia and mistrust. Humphrey Bogart stars as private investigator Sam Spade, who becomes entangled in a web of deceit involving a mysterious and highly coveted statuette. The film's dark, claustrophobic cinematography, sharp dialogue, and ruthless characters emphasize the noir world of greed, betrayal, and double-crossing. Its noir status is further solidified through the use of low-key lighting and deep shadows, which mirror the moral darkness of the characters. And honestly, chiaroscuro is one of my favorite techniques because it is so good.
Why don't you try learning movies
To look at. And I feel like these stark contrasts really represent the extremities on both sides of the themes of the novel. You know, there's ethical gray area, but there's also, you know, good and bad. And I feel like chiaroscuro just lends itself well to these themes. Several other key films from this period include Double Indemnity, 1944, directed by Billy Wilder. One of my all-time favorite film noirs. Whenever someone asks me for a film noir recommendation, whenever that is, people come up to me on the street randomly. I'm like, what's your favorite film noir? Give me a film noir. See, I wouldn't work good for the people on the street that are like just asking random ass questions about, I don't know, who's your favorite sports person or whatever. Athlete. Who's your favorite athlete? I wouldn't know that. Favorite noir or name a noir? I'd be winning that $20, okay? One of the most defining films of the noir era, Double Indemnity, tells a story of Walter Neff, played by Fred McMurray, an insurance salesman who falls under the spell of the seductive, archetypal femme fatale Phyllis Dietrichson, played by the awesome Barbara Stanwyck. Together, they plot to unalive her husband for the insurance payout, only to face an inevitable downward spiral of paranoia and betrayal. Stanwyck's portrayal of the femme fatale is one of the most iconic in cinema history, epitomizing noir's theme of a seemingly innocent yet manipulative woman leading men to ruin. Alright, now that does sound a bit misogynistic, but again, I will say this, the whole manipulation thing, okay, I don't buy it. And you're already flawed. You're already planning out a fucking murder, okay? You know, you really need somebody to manipulate and say, no, that doesn't work in this court. You are guilty.
This is not Dr. Phil. This is a court.
The film also features pioneering use of voiceover narration, flashbacks, and chiaroscuro lighting, emphasizing themes of fate and entrapment. The Postman Always Rings Twice in 1946. The director is Tay Garnett. Based on James M. Cain's novel, this film noir follows Frank Chambers, a drifter who falls for Cora Smith, the wife of a diner owner. And I just have to say, this is one of my favorite hard-boiled Pulp Fiction novels. The Postman Always Rings Twice. It's a classic. So I would recommend actually reading it. It's really good. And I can see why it got censored at the time, because actually, very surprisingly graphic. They begin a passionate affair and conspire to murder her husband to be together. The film is a quintessential example of the noir genre, featuring a doomed romance of femme fatale and the inevitability of fate catching up with its protagonist. Lana Turner's portrayal of Cora in her signature all-white outfits against the film's shadowy cinematography contrasts innocence with calculated manipulation, emphasizing noir's themes of desire and destruction. And I do have to say, I do like the remake in like 1981 or something with Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange. I think it's pretty good too. But we're talking about the classic era, not the remake era. The Big Sleep, 1946, directed by Howard Hawks. This adaptation of Raymond Chandler's novel features Humphrey Bogart as Philip Marlowe, the quintessential hard-boiled detective. Hired to investigate a blackmail case involving the daughter of a wealthy general, Marlowe quickly finds himself entangled in a labyrinth plot of murder, deception, and corruption. The film's non-linear, often confusing narrative is intentional, mirroring the chaotic and unpredictable nature of noir's criminal underworld. Lauren Bacall, the queen of noir, plays the film's mysterious femme fatale, adding a layer of tension and romance. With its rapid-fire dialogue, moody atmosphere, and use of low-key lighting, The Big Sleep remains one of the defining examples of classic noir and the Bowie and Bacall dynamic film duo. Honestly, Lauren Bacall, oh, she is literally amazing in everything she did. Like, honestly, one of my favorite femme fatales, one of my favorite actresses of this era. Like, amazing. Gotta give it up for Lauren Bacall, everybody. Give it up. Gilda, 1946, directed by Charles Vidor. Few film noirs are as defined by their leading lady as Gilda, starring Rita Hayworth in her most iconic role. Oh, and Rita Hayworth, girl. I said Lauren Bacall, but Rita Hayworth, she is she is amazing. Like, Rita Hayworth, Lauren Bacall, top tier women. Barbara Stanwyck, let's go. The film follows Johnny Farrell, played by Glenn Ford, a small-time gambler who becomes the right-hand man of a casino owner, only to discover that his boss's new wife, Gilda, is his former lover. Hayworth's performance, particularly her sultry rendition of Put the Blame on Mame, cements her as one of noir's most captivating femme fatales. The film's themes of power, obsession, and betrayal are heightened through dramatic close-ups, backlit cinematography, and carefully choreographed blocking that intensifies the tension between its characters. Sunset Boulevard, 1950, directed by Billy Wilder. What I am emulating now. Trying to emulate now. Also, there's a fucking funny cartoon that I used to watch when I was a little kid called Chowder that did a freaking parody of this, and it is so funny.
Look at me. I used to be famous. Now the world's forgotten me. I'm just leftovers.
I didn't know that it was doing this when I was watching it as a little kid, but then when I got into film noir and got into this, I realized what it was parodying, and it's funny. It's hilarious. It's not for everyone, but it still makes me laugh, okay?
Flux, I'm out of popcorn, Flux. I am big food. It's the refrigerators that got small. Oh, come back. Yes, Flux, that's what I need.
Also, at the time, I didn't know that the main actor, well, not technically the main actor, but the main blue guy in this is played and voiced by Dwight Schultz, aka Lieutenant Reginald Barclay from Star Trek TNG, aka one of my favorite characters of all time, one of my favorite character arcs going from TNG to Voyager. Oh, yeah. Okay.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
So it's a meta-noir. Let me explain that a little bit. A meta-noir is a subgenre of film noir that is self-reflexive on or deconstructs noir conventions. So basically, when I say self-reflexive, it means that the movie knows what it is. Like, the movie knows it's a noir, and it is self-aware, okay? It often blends traditional noir elements with satire, irony, or commentary on the genre itself. Meta-noir retains the visual and thematic trademarks of classic noir, but adds a layer of self-awareness, questioning the genre's tropes and cultural significance. So, this film critiques Hollywood itself. Sunset Boulevard follows struggling screenwriter Joe Gillis, played by William Holden, as he becomes entangled with the faded silent film star Norma Desmond, played by the awesome Gloria Swanson. Norma, lost in the delusion of her past fame, sees Joe as a way to stage her comeback.
Comeback, yes!
Leading to a psychologically intense and ultimately tragic narrative. Wilder employs stark lighting contrast, deep focus cinematography, and a voiceover narration from the protagonist, who, spoiler, is already dead at the film's opening, to create an unsettling and darkly satirical film. The movie's themes of vanity, decay, and lost dreams align perfectly with noir's existential anxieties. It is a film. It is literally an iconic film. You could almost put this in the camp category of film, okay? It is that iconic. Gloria Swanson's performance, just amazing, okay? And this is often one of the most misquoted films of all time, Literally, people always say, "I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille," but that is not really what she says. What she says is,
"All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up."
Obviously, it's one of my favorite, if you couldn't already tell. Our last film noir is The Third Man in 1949, directed by Carol Reed. In this noir, set in post-war Vienna, American pulp novelist Holly Martins, played by Joseph Cotton, arrives expecting a job from his childhood friend, the enigmatic Harry Lime, played by Orson Welles. Instead, he finds that Lime has died under mysterious circumstances. As Martin delves into the conflicting accounts of Lime's demise, he becomes entangled in a city teeming with black market dealings, espionage, and deception. His investigation leads him to Lime's lover, Anna Schmidt, played by Alida Valli, and British officer Major Calloway, played by Trevor Howard, who warns him that Lime was no innocent businessman. When a shocking revelation brings Lime back into the shadows, Martins must choose between friendship and justice in a city where nothing is as it seems.
The film is an excellent example of film noir as a whole genre with its brilliant implementation of chiaroscuro, the Dutch angle and deep focus. It is an almost immaculate film, embracing all the technical and aesthetic aspects of film noir, and innovating the genre with its unique qualities and stunning visuals.
By the late 1950s, the rise of television and the decline of the studio system contributed to the end of classic film noir. However, the genre evolved into neo-noir, a term used to describe films that retain noir's themes but incorporate modern sensibilities, settings, and visual styles. Neo-noir films often incorporate color cinematography, non-linear storytelling, and unconventional protagonists, but they maintain the genre's core themes of cynicism, corruption, and existential struggle. Quickly, I'm going to go through some notable neo-noir films. Chinatown in 1974, a revival of noir themes set in 1930s Los Angeles featuring corruption, power struggles, and a tragic ending, basically about the water wars in California. So if you don't know about that, do some self-research. So it was but it's got Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway, and another could be camp classic, Blade Runner in 1982, directed by Ridley Scott, which is a fusion of noir and science fiction, exploring existential questions about identity and humanity, based on the Philip K. Dick Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I think I have it. Boom, I was right. Based on this, Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. And I would highly recommend reading this. It is fantastic. Okay, it's classic science fiction. LA Confidential in 1997. Shout out to the person who mentioned this in the comments on my, I think, David Lynch video. LA Confidential in 1997, directed by Curtis Hanson. A neo-noir crime thriller set in 1950s Los Angeles, echoing the style and themes of classic noir. And Nightcrawler in 2014, directed by Dan Gilroy. A psychological thriller emphasizing noir's focus on corrupt ambition and the dark side of media exploitation. Honestly, a really good kind of modern film. I know it's like 10 years old now, but it is actually great. I didn't watch this when it first came out because I was still in my modern films era. My partner actually introduced me to it, and he was like, watch it, it's really good. So we did, I think, in my dorm room, and yeah, it's awesome. Film noir's impact extends beyond Hollywood, influencing international filmmakers in other genres, including psychological thrillers, cyberpunk, and even superhero films. Directors such as Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, and the Coen brothers have drawn heavily from noir conventions in films like Taxi Driver in 1976, The Dark Knight in 2008, and Fargo in 1996, all killer movies. Additionally, noir's themes of paranoia and moral ambiguity have found resonance in television shows such as True Detective and Breaking Bad. Amazing. I'm obsessed with Breaking Bad. But please tell me that some people would love me to talk about Breaking Bad, because I am dying to. All right. I recently have taken another television course, and my chosen television show for our project for the course has been Breaking Bad, and I've been rewatching it for the billionth time, and it's just incredible. It's still good after the like 1,000th time through. Breaking Bad glaze over. Even video games like L.A. Noire in 2011 explicitly pay homage to the genre's aesthetics and detective-based narratives. Film noir remains one of the most influential genres in cinema history, leaving a lasting legacy on storytelling, cinematography, and character archetypes. Though its classic era may have ended, the genre continues to evolve, proving that its dark, complex themes remain relevant to contemporary audiences. Whether in classic black and white or modern digital landscapes, noir endures as a compelling reflection of human nature's darker side. That is curtains on this video, and if you enjoyed watching, let me know in the comments below. Okay, going back to when I was talking about of how I wouldn't be good at those athletic question askers on the street. If you were asked on the street to name a noir film, a film noir, not neo-noir, film noir, what would be your answer? Just off the top of your head, what would be it? Let me know, because then we can all be like, yeah, this is what I would say to get 20 bucks. It should be 40 with inflation now. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. You know, my winged eyeliner looks so good, and you can't even see it because of the bead. Anybody else having crazy weather where they're at, by the way? Because it is like all 4 seasons in a day at this point.